Hello, today we are going to be explaining the storyline of Outlast, a horror mystery game by Red Barrels. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more content just like this. You begin the game as Miles Upshur, an ambitious reporter who is on his way to investigate Mount Massive Asylum owned by the mysterious Murkoff Corporation. When you arrive at the asylum you find no one to let you in. You check a document in the seat next to you explaining that Murkoff have been doing experiments that the sender was disgusted with and that they accidentally awoken something within the mountain. You grab your camera and sneak in through a side gate. There you see someone in the window watching before they run off. You go around the side to find a backdoor entrance and find an open window to climb into. The room inside is a mess and the lights go out at that moment. You learn to use your camera to see in the dark and continue to explore the messy, bloody, and seemingly empty office building. You then navigate through a room containing multiple decapitated bodies and an alive man who has been impaled. He tells you that several people he calls variants have escaped and that they are responsible for the mess in this room. You cannot fight them, only run and hide. He tells you to get out and you agree to find a way to the exit. Whilst trying to push through a load of bookshelves and chairs you are grabbed by one of the variants, Chris Walker, who throws you out of the window to the ground floor. You pass out and wake up to see a priest, Father Martin, stood over you. He thanks God for sending him an apostle and tells him to further investigate what happened to the facility before you pass out again. When you wake up again, he is gone and so you continue to traverse the ground floor. You enter a room with 3 patients and a TV displaying static and blood covering it. Upon entering the next room, you find a corpse with an access card and try to head back when a hallway patient jumps you and you must shake him off while he screams about how the doctor is dead and he was ripped clean. You use the access card to enter security in hopes of finding out what happened here. As you do you see Father Martin in the basement turn off the electricity, not wanting you to pick up the information and leave. As the backup electricity comes on, Chris Walker is seen heading for security. You hide in a locker as he bursts in and as he sees no one is in here he leaves. You head downstairs to the water-filled basement to turn on the electricity again, writing a note that the Murkoff Corporation often disguises profit with charity but that they have never done such a thing on American soil. Whatever Murkoff is doing, it must be big. He sneaks around the basement to bring back the electricity, trying to make sure he is not spotted by one of the variants that lives there. After he restarts the electricity, he escapes out of the basement and back to the main lobby. In one of the rooms, you find a letter discussing the low likelihood of any family members noticing if any of the patients were to disappear during experimentation, and mentions something called Project Walrider, in association with something named morphogenic engine therapy. However, as you finally return to the security room you are pinned and injected with something that makes you fall unconscious by Father Martin. He clearly has plans for you and wants you to continue to explore and witness the horrors of the asylum. He lastly shows you a video of an invisible force that the priest calls the Walrider throwing about a team of soldiers like it was nothing. You then fall unconscious. You wake up later in a patient's cell and write another note. A man named Dr. Wernicke is allegedly at the center of these operations, but according to your research he died a few years ago. When you leave your cell, you encounter 2 naked men fantasizing about murdering you from the other side of cell bars. Father Martin apparently told the 2 not to kill Miles, so they let him have a head start. You leave the holding center through a corridor that sterilizes you as you pass through it. On the walls outside it reads, "God always provides a way. Follow the blood." On your journey you find another document, a letter from Neil Wolfram explaining his frustration with management for not letting a patient named Martin Archambaud play with finger paint, sending him into insanity, and talking about a higher calling, and suggests that Murkoff may even want their patients insane for whatever their experiments relate to. This Martin Archambaud is the same person as Father Martin who wants us to explore the facility. Elsewhere you find that the 2 naked murderers are now on the hunt for you before they run off. In another room full of cells, you see Chris Walker pick up a man and decapitate him before walking off. You grab a key card from the corpse of another security guard and enter another area. Whilst walking past a set of windows, one of the twins walks up to you from the shadows whilst another comes up from behind. You climb out of a window and climb past them, making them think you believe they are assholes. You come across another sterilization chamber, but it is broken, so you enter the security room next to it to turn it on, but as you do this, Chris Walker comes through it and breaks through the glass to chase after you. You climb into a vent, and he is unable to reach you, but when you drop down, he continued to chase you until you pass the now broken sterilization chamber spewing hot flames, and you are thrown out of the window next to it by an explosion. But you land safely because below you are a heap of putrefied corpses to cushion your fall. Chris gets down there with you and gives chase, but is too fat to fit through a crack you pushed through. In the cell of another holding facility, you find a small biography of Rudolf G. Wernicke. He was born in 1918 in Munich and worked for the Nazis before moving to America and working for the Murkoff Corporation in his late years before dying in 2009. You exit out of the cell rooms and find your way down to the sewers. Chris Walker is down there with you as you find out, and you must evade his capture whilst flushing the water out of the next area by turning two valves located down there with you. You use a ladder in the now emptied hole to access the lower junction and climb out at another location. Miles writes another note explaining how disgusted and horrified he is at what is going on here, stating that dying keeps moving lower on the list of the worst things that could happen to him there. He exits the sewers and finds himself being chased after by a man with a baton back in there. Everywhere he goes the water is soaked red with blood. You pass through a small hospital for the sick only to find corpses who have been stripped of their flesh and organs and heads. You then drop into a room with a man tied to a chair that begins screaming. Two other men begin to break the door down, aiming to corner and eat you as they did with the hospital patients. You flee the scene and block the door behind you with a massive metal crate and climb out of a vent whilst they scream for the Walrider and Dr. Wernicke. As you drop out, you find they are still on your tail. You hear a voice from the top of a dumb waiter calling you to get in to get to safety, but as you are pulled up you come face to face with another variant. He punches you, making you dazed as he straps you to a wheelchair and wheels you off. He teases you with a possible exit but then pulls you back into an elevator and away from freedom. He brings you into his so-called office and puts your camera up to film you as he raves about how Father Martin might be a bit crazy and that God died with the gold standard. He proceeds to cut Miles' fingers off and leaves with them, which gives you time to break out of your straps and make a break for it. But not before throwing up. You find one of the man's patients, who explains that he was an executive at the building just like your torturer, who he calls Traeger. Dr. Traeger was put through some kind of experiment related to the Walrider, but that Murkoff couldn't control him, so he was abandoned as just another variant. Traeger returns and kills the executive before realizing that you have escaped. Whilst looking for you, you try to escape through the elevator, but he catches you. You wrestle it out until the elevator catches him and crushes him between the floor and the top of the door. You continue your traversal of the asylum's offices until you meet Father Martin, who is relieved to see you alive. He tells you to come outside and runs off. On your way there you find a man sat surrounded by flames. He tells Miles that he can get out through the kitchen, but he cannot go because he has been turned into a monster by the Murkoff Corporation. You venture to find the sprinklers to put out the fire, but you are hunted by Chris Walker and chased if spotted. Once the sprinklers are on and the fire can be put out, you return to look for Father Martin outside. You make it outside, but he is not there. You hear a strange scream pass you by as you traverse the open area. You find a letter from Father Martin explaining that he sees you as his so-called Paul, and that he wants you to help drive the nails into his cross. You find a key to a gate back inside but are met with what is definitively some kind of ghost flying at you. It does no harm but confirms that the Walrider is indeed a real entity, whatever it may be. You try to head for the female ward, but Chris Walker catches you and you must run and hide. But when you finally lose him, you can pass under a small hole in the wall and enter the ward. Father Martin knows that you have finally seen the Walrider and are beginning to understand. He tells you that you can reach him by going through the upper floors, and so you make your way over. Upstairs you encounter a man with a plank of wood with nails stuck out of it, which you must avoid preventing him beating your ass. You try to get a key out of a shaft, but as you open the metal bars the corpse falls with the key in hand, forcing you to go back downstairs to find the key. You find and grab the key, but the man with the bat finds and chases you. Once you are clear of him, you make use the key to unlock the gate to level 3, allowing you to be on the same level as the pastor. You walk through a door only to come face to face with the same naked pair from near the beginning of the game, so you decide it would be easier to go in the other direction. You then enter a room where the floor has all but collapsed and you jump from one faulty piece of flooring to another. It gives way and you accidentally drop your camera down a hole back down to at least the first floor. Needing your camera both for evidence against Murkoff and to see in the dark, you must drop back down and look for it. When you find it, you switch on night vision and are met with at least 3 different patients who all want your blood as an offering for the Walrider. You see another patient who says he was told to direct you to the theater where the key card to the next level is stored behind the projector. So, you go to the theater room and pick it up and must evade Chris Walker again to escape. For a priest who needs you alive, he certainly creates elaborate situations that could easily get you killed. You ascend to the next level whilst being watched by one of the naked dudes and must inch your way across the outside of the building to pass a locked gate. You finally reach the chapel and are prepared to give the priest a piece of your mind for all he has subjected you to when he tells you that you are finally free to leave and tell the world what you saw. He fixed the elevator for you to return to the first floor and leave before setting himself on fire, dying for the sins of the asylum or some other reason only a crazy person could think of. You leave and pass the 2 naked guys who do not seem interested in killing you anymore, possibly out of respect to Father Martin, and head for the elevator. After you escape Chris for one final time, you use the elevator to go to the first floor. But something malfunctions and the elevator plummets to an underground facility. Whilst bloody, this facility, with the visible Murkoff name at the entrance, is a lot cleaner and lab-like than the worn-down condition of the building. Chris has also found his way downstairs with you and has finally caught you. But just as you are about to be torn to shreds, the Walrider himself throws Chris around like a piece of paper and then shreds him in a vent fan. You continue your exploration of the facility when you finally come across Wernicke behind glass in his office. He is weak and needs a wheelchair and life support to survive, but he explains that Billy kept him alive because he loved him. The Walrider is named Billy and was an experiment gone wrong involving human-piloted nanomachines. Wernicke explains that Miles needs to stop Billy by killing him. So, you travel to where Billy is being kept carrying out the job. Billy is now actively hostile towards you, but seemingly cannot attack you when you are inside the sterilization chambers that have been seen throughout the whole building. You reach the main lab and find a man inside a glass ball being sustained with tubes that feed him everything he needs, as well as a screen playing a strangely hypnotic video while his is forced to watch. You find one valve and turn it, audibly causing pain for Billy. You then search to turn off the electricity being supplied to the glass ball. You pull it out, which enrages the Walrider, who throws you to the ground. After that you finally switch off Billy's anesthesia, causing him immense pain and resulting in him bleeding out and dying. With his last bit of strength, he throws you around but ultimately dissipates. In his last moments, his nanites merge with your body before you are thrown to the ground and Billy dies. You stumble your way out of the facility in immense pain, but as you are about to escape, the double doors open with a team of gunmen on the other side which do not hesitate to shoot you dead. As it happens though, the nanites that merged with you did so because you were in the prime position to be a live host without the need for a giant crystal ball. As Wernicke realizes his mistake, the screen goes to black and all that can be heard is you tearing his men apart. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. See you next time.